And from that information, we believe that there's two fundamental dimensions that you have to look at to determine if you're a fused organization or not. The first dimension is what we call serviceability. We have to be able to support the network. We have to make sure it's running. So as Tom Kane was talking about when he was doing his presentation, that one server running the entire manufacturing floor with no backup is not a very serviceable model. It's not very supportable. We're asking for an answer. Our reputation is measured on how stable IT is. They love us when everything is going smooth. And we're invisible to them, but they love us. As soon as IT goes down, they're calling up the hit guy. The hit guy's going to come in and take you out because you just ruined their day. So serviceability is where our reputation lies. I can't do anything else if that serviceability element is not there. The second element of this deals with what we call strategy. You have to be strategic with the organizations. We see a lot of companies that are out there that have very little strategy. They're not at the strategic table. They don't talk to the business. They're basically in a mode where all they do is maintain the network that's running. They're a required element. So essentially, they've reduced themselves or been forced to be reduced to nothing more than a simple cost center, kind of like the electric company. It's a bill, and we complain about it every time it comes in. And we want it to be less and less and less without changing anything. We don't want to change our consumption. We just want the bill to be less. People look at IT when it's in that model exactly like that. If I can change and become very strategic to the organization, I have the ability to transform the organization, to help get through the tough times, to help take advantage of the lean times. So we look at this, and we think about serviceability. This is a picture of the Apollo 13 space module. So I think everyone here probably knows the story of the Apollo 13, but this is one of our flights to the moon. We're flying, a piece of the ship blows off, hits the side of the ship during launch into space, creates damage. They get into space, they're trying to go to the moon, and they realize the spaceship is in jeopardy. The problem with the spaceship is they don't know how to get back into orbit, how to get back to Earth. Sometimes our business, and most times business, the business part of what we do, is that lunar module. It's that spacecraft. It's out in space. That's that salesperson that's in Duluth trying to close that biggest deal ever. It's the people on the manufacturing floor that are trying to get the product out so they can get revenue this month. They're out there alone, trying to accomplish this. If it wasn't for IT, or mission control in this example, we would not have those 3 astronauts back on planet Earth. They would not have survived. Think of the level of trust that existed between mission control and that space capsule in those hours. Now keep in mind what's happening out there. It's more dire than what we face on a day-to-day basis. Running out of oxygen, freezing, the temperature is dropping. Everything they're trying is failing. But finally, mission control figures out how to solve the problem. They solve the problem with seconds to spare and bring 3 astronauts back alive. That's the kind of trust that we have to build with IT and the rest of the business, where they can depend on us to be there wherever they are, whenever they need, and to bring them back safely. That's what we have to create. We talk about serviceability, it's doing that. We think about chess. As we were putting this presentation together, we're going through and we're talking about different graphics to use for the presentation. We're talking about a bunch of different things. And someone said, what is chess without strategy? So think about that. What is chess without strategy? Isn't it nothing more than checkers? Right? I thought it was pretty apropos. Strategy is an important part. The challenge that we have to get over with IT is we have to understand we know the pieces intimately well. We know how each piece moves, what it can do, how many spaces. We know the details of the movements of the pieces, and we know all the pieces. But that is not enough to allow you to win in playing chess. You have to have strategy. You need to know how to open a game. You need to know how to play the middle of a game. You need to understand how to play the end game. And the better we are at strategy and the more involved we are with strategy, the more successful that we can become.